Boom. And with a click of the button, he was live. Right. Good evening, everybody. Hope this finds you well this Friday evening. Christmas draws closer, and we were getting increasingly into the festive swing. What with all the lockdowns and associated misery. So, regardless, anyway, you're all very welcome to the stream here tonight. Just wanted to do a quick stream, really, to tackle something which I see as essentially the controlled demolition of society. I'll come on to that in a second. But what I'd like you to do is, if as you're watching this, if you can share this, that would be great. Get this shared across as many platforms as possible. Hello, Patty. Nice to see you. Chris, Harry, et al. I wanted to let me just get this here. Yeah, let me just get this across the. There you go. Before we kick off, if you do believe in free speech, if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you're mad and you actually believe in that, do me a favor. It is Christmas. Make a small donation to www.altnewsmedia.net/donate. And make a small seasonal contribution to keep the show on the road. If you can do that, that would be much appreciated. And as I say, all help much appreciated. Thank you very much, Chris. Good man. Right. Okay. So there's a couple of things I wanted to chat about, and it's really trying to bring together a couple of issues. Which I know I've been going on about, but the first issue, obviously, is the ongoing destruction of our health service, basically in the UK. It's something that does need to be talked about because, for example, last night I shared a video of it was actually a local hospital, Antrim area hospital, and a lady called Dee Wall. Had been in and done a video, and there was some. I got a little bit of kickback in that. People saying it looks. Hi, Matrix. By the way, I look very Captain Picard this evening. People said, "Oh, you're fake news. Fake news. This is an Antrim. This is the outpatients area of Antrim." General Hospital, and in actual fact they were half right. Part of it was, but part of it wasn't. But regardless of that, I've subsequently put up another photograph. Don't know if you saw it, folks. Let's see if we can do this thingy as we're actually live. That would be quite a good test of my abilities. I wanted to show you this picture here because I think it's hugely relevant, actually. So what I want to show you folks is this image here. So let me just put up. So there's no doubt. I don't want any doubt whatsoever. I'm going to share this with you. So here we go. What you see is the emergency department in Antrim Hospital. This is where ambulance triage happens. Round about 6 o'clock tonight, round about that. This is right at the heart of everything. And as you can see, this is where all the ambulances come in with all those sick COVID patients, those people on their last legs. This is where it all happens. But wait, I know what you're asking. I know what you're thinking. Where's the people? Yeah, that's a good question. Where are the people? I wonder, could the health minister explain that one to me? Could the medical officials within the NHS Trust concerned, could they explain that to me? Why is there nobody there? Why are there no patients? And this kind of goes back to last night because people said, well, it's the outpatients department and that's closed, obviously. So what are you talking about? And this is the killer point. Why on earth is the outpatients department closed? Are there no outpatients? Is everybody so fit and well that there's no need for outpatient clinics? anymore? Well, the answer is obviously not. And of course, there's a need for outpatient clinics. Oh, but in this modern age, we don't really have those. And we have I guess, across the NHS, lots of things like, planned operations being, I'm reading your comments, being deferred and so on and so forth, despite the misery. Hi, Jed. Good to see you on the stream. Aussie, Matrix, Aussie, Kim. We almost take for granted now, after 9 months of this, that of course the NHS isn't there for us. What do you expect? And as Chris Davis rightly points out, he says, David, at what point do we stop protecting the NHS and it starts protecting us? Well, of course, Chris, you're absolutely spot on. That's how it should be, but that's not how it is in this brave new world, dare I say. We live in a world where we're being told that essentially our job is to protect a public health service, which is absolutely ludicrous, but that's nonetheless how it is. But here's the other thing I wanted to talk about, because it's important. So I guess we all accept that, however you cut it, folks, the NHS at this point is increasingly dysfunctional. I'm not saying it doesn't do some good, but I'm saying it's dysfunctional, and I think that's reasonable. Education, folks, is very, very similar. I wanted to talk to you about what's happening in education, because I don't think this is fully understood. So maybe you'll bear with me as I try to explain a few things. You see, the schools have been back since September, but what is happening in the schools since September? And I believe that what's happening in some schools, not all schools, but some schools, is you've got teachers sitting around with virtually empty classrooms. Lots of teachers are also off work because they're self-isolating. Why are they all self-isolating? Well, because of the track and trace app, which lets them know if they've been in contact with someone who has the dreaded lurgy. It's so strange that this is normal now, apparently, to have basically empty classrooms, or all but empty classrooms, teachers just sitting there. They're not educating anyone particularly. And this is, but the schools are open. Yes, the schools are open, but the schools aren't working. They're not. There's no education being done. And then I'm also of an opinion, and again, this is said with a degree of knowledge, that one of the things that's happening in the schools is that exams. So some of the kids who are off school because of self-isolation, I mean, there's nothing wrong with them, but for whatever reason, they're just not going into school. They're being allowed to do school exams at home without anyone at any degree of supervision. So what they're doing is they're sitting at home, right, doing an exam. They've got their books, if they want, open right in front of them, so they can copy down all the answers. And I suspect, hi Linda, by the way, nice to see you on the stream. Good to see you after, it's been a little while since I've seen you, so you're very welcome here. So I'm sure everybody in this stream, all of you folks like me, have done their exams. You know what it's like. Will I be able to answer the question? Can I remember what I revised? All that stuff. You don't have to worry about that anymore, folks. That is now a thing of the past, because all you do is you sort of, if there's a test on whatever subject it needs to be, you've got the course book literally in front of you with all the answers literally in front of you, and you just copy them and then you send it back into school. And that's how some exams are happening in some schools. Now, I ask you, what is that doing for kids? And City Troll makes a very valid point here, that our kids are losing a couple of years, 2 full years of knowledge. I suspect that is about right. I mean, it's not as if education's been dumbed down anyway, but this is taking dumb down to a new level. And And part of the thing that's happening within education, as I say, is this bizarre situation where also discipline is all but collapsed within some schools as well. And again, COVID has been the mechanism that has allowed this to happen. So kids come and go. They turn up for class. They don't turn up for class. If you challenge them, then you're going to be in big trouble. So nobody challenges them, and exams are being conducted in this bizarre fashion, essentially 100% cheating allowed. And that's how it is, folks. So I mean, you've got a dysfunctional health system. You've got a dysfunctional education system. We saw in the news today in the UK, I don't know if you saw it, that Greater Manchester Police have been placed into what's the term? Special special care or whatever, because apparently it's dysfunctional. So hang on. Ozzy says to me, he says, David, my dad is nearly having a heart attack shouting at the wee Robin Swan every time he's on TV. Well, of course, I'm surprised Robin Swan is ever actually, he's the health minister for Northern Ireland, by the way. I'm surprised he's ever visible on TV owing to his lack of height. I'm surprised the cameras pick him up. I can only assume he stands on a box or maybe a small ladder, and that way we get him on the, special measures. Thanks, Jed. That way we see him on the TV. My advice is to completely ignore people like Robin Swan. By the way, he's a man of remarkable stupidity, and I presume that's what got him the job. Can you imagine in any other sphere, you tend to want to give the job to the best people, but in politics, it sometimes suits to give the job to the worst people. Isn't that a strange one? But that's the nature of politics. But yeah, no, Jed reminds me that, yes, I just put it up here. Manchester Police are in special measures. And as Kim says, the reason they're in special measures is because they ignored 80,000 crimes. I shouldn't laugh. I mean, I shouldn't laugh. It's wrong. 80,000 people suffered a crime. And Greater Manchester Police didn't want to know about it. They weren't interested. They deliberately ignored it. And so, so we can't have confidence in our health service. We can't have confidence in our education system, and we can't have confidence in our policing service. So you can see the elements of society, the things that keep us all together, are basically being demolished bit by bit by bit. And that's before we've even got to the end of 2020. That's before we get into 2021. George Chilton says there'll be no exams in Scotland next year, so the smartest will be marked equally with the dumbest, and this marks the death of education. George, your point is excellent. I completely agree. I think, by the way, what's happening in Scotland is pretty much going to happen across the other parts of the UK as well. That said, Nicola Sturgeon seems to take a delight in this. Scotland had a well-deserved reputation for providing really good education going back a few years, maybe 10, 20 years. Since the advent of the SNP, quality education in Scotland has increasingly deteriorated. And so it doesn't surprise me. Linda makes the point that Manchester Police are too busy chasing hate speech. Well, yeah, absolutely, Linda. Or indeed enforcing COVID regulations. Perish the thought that some poor one-man band somewhere might want to keep their business going and earn a few pounds because they won't get that from the government. Paul says, did you hear the Jeff Peel getting put off BBC at lunchtime? They just can't. No, I didn't hear that, Paul. No. But the BBC, anyone who expects the BBC to provide alternative views or opinion, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. The BBC banned me back in 2015. And why was I banned by the BBC? I was banned because I dissented from the government's welfare policies. I believe we should have tougher policies before taxpayer monies are splurged on the idle. And for saying that on a TV interview, I was banned. Someone says, you're going to stick to the 8 p.m. curfew on Boxing Day? I go for a walk most evenings after 9. Well, of course, Aussie, to be honest, at 8 o'clock or 9, it's pretty black outside here. So I wouldn't be going out for a walk that late. But I view the curfew with complete contempt, would be my way. Naturally, I would always adhere to the law. Although, actually, just as a point of interest, can anyone on the stream tell me what is the difference between COVID guidance and COVID regulations? Because there is a difference. One's law, one is the law, which you must obey always. Guidance is simply that. That's the politicians telling you that this would be highly recommended. There again, you might say, yeah, thanks very much for that, and stuff it, I'm not going to do it. There is a difference between guidance and regulations, folks. I do advise you all to study that so you can make sure that you do the right thing. George asked the question, will we be doing this insanity next December? Well, you know something, George? I think I hate to be like Scrooge type character. I don't want to be the ghost of Jed, I see your comment, Christmas past, but I fear unless people rise up against all of this, things will be even worse in December 2021. You see, the politicians and the medics, they have got away with it. They've got away with all of this. And the people I blame, to be quite honest, are the people who have conformed. The sheep, the people who wear their masks outdoors, the people who the BBC interview and say, we think Christmas should be cancelled. It's just too dangerous. We've got to save Granny. We've got to make sure we stay the hell away from her this Christmas, even though Granny might be in her final year of life. But we've got to keep away from her because my reasons. And because of that attitude, that encourages the political class to think that they can lock us down more and more. And so, you know, if you indulge something, what you get is more of that. So that's why, you know, people really need to grow a pair. They really need to grow a pair and say enough with this. Like, for example, lockdowns. We know lockdowns. There's little evidence that lockdowns do any good, but there's plenty of evidence that they do lots of harm. This is obvious stuff. Lockdowns destroy the economy. They cause depression. They make people, they can create a lot of isolation in people, especially people on their own. So, you know, lockdowns don't work. If lockdowns work, by the way, why were we locked down from March until May, June of this year? Wasn't that to get the R rate down so we could get back to normal? And then what did they do once they got us out of lockdown in June, July? Yes, they told us you have to wear a mask, and mask wearing came in the summer when the respiratory illness was all but gone. And now as we've entered the winter respiratory virus season, we've had a lockdown in November. Now we're going to have a lockdown in December, January, February. Do you understand? I'm sure you folks do understand. But I mean, I just need to say it out loud. The more this is indulged, the more of it that we get. And the awful thing is, and I don't know how you feel about it, is that, you know, there's a section of society, people who like to be masked up and who like to be told what to do by government. I didn't believe there was as many of those. Linda, I'm very sorry for people like yourself. I sob at the thought of not seeing my grandchildren. That is a very sad thing. Indeed, I will be seeing my grandchild this Christmas, by the way. I have every intention of making sure that I know what my priorities are. Pretty cruel, though. Pretty cruel. City Troll is right, by the way. Lockdowns are exclusively about tyrannical control, he says, Paddy says, and he's absolutely right. Matrix says it's beyond logical debate now. It's an attack, not a pandemic. Absolutely right. You know, it's someone mentions, by the way, George says, Bill Gates says we will be back to normal. He doesn't really. Bill Gates says that by the summer, we'll be back to something approaching normality, as all things, or the beginning of things being normal. You just see right through it, folks. You're not getting back to normal. All be good little boys and girls. Take your vaccines and hope that, unlike the nurse we all saw on social media who collapsed when she took it. Do you remember? Did you see that picture, that video on social media? The nurse who got the jab and very quickly thereafter collapsed. Oh, people say this happens all the time. It's so normal. Yeah, right. Sure. It's so normal. Yeah. You take a perfectly healthy young lady, gets a jab, down she goes. I think I'm glad, I believe she did recover, but does make you think, doesn't it, about the vaccine? And of course, they know fine rightly, by the way, that the vaccine is going to take such a long time for the vaccine to roll out to get to the majority of people in society. Whether the majority of people in society want it's a different matter. Kim says, I used to marvel how it was possible for the Nazis to brainwash a nation. The government's the COVID scam has made me less judgmental of human perceptions. Well, Kim, you're not the only one. Oh, by the way, Joseph Curtis in Tennessee, if that's where you are, you're very welcome on the stream. Oh, no, sorry, that's where the nurse was. Yeah, the nurse was in Tennessee. I saw that, yeah. But, back to Kim's point, I used to wonder how on earth the Nazis got normal people to go along with their evil. I used to think, how could this be? But I was younger back then. I didn't think deeply. Now, Sonia says, Sonia White, hello, David. Will you not get rid of that COVID cheerleader forever now? Well, the problem is there's so many COVID cheerleaders. We've got so many of them, haven't we? And I guess the thing that bothers me most is this whole thing that, they've taken people understandably are scared of getting a virus that can do them serious damage. I understand that. And I understand, by the way, that the COVID virus can be very serious for some people. I get that. I understand. But so is the flu. And we have a virus and we have a vaccine for the flu. But yet we don't vaccinate everyone. And yet many people could get the flu. Why do we not vaccinate everybody for the flu? Because the majority of people their immune system is quite capable of managing getting over the flu. Ditto. Oh, right. It's okay. I'll come on to Sonia says, I think are you referring to my regular Monday evening guest, Rebecca Butler? Well, look, I mean, Rebecca is perfectly entitled to her opinion. Sonia, I don't agree necessarily with Rebecca, and you don't have to agree, no more than anyone has to agree with me, by the way. Agreement is not mandatory, but I believe in having different opinions, Sonia. So I hope you, so I hope you'll accept that. George says, sorry, David, he actually said we won't be back to normal even after vaccines. Yeah, George, and that George Orwell, 84. George, you're absolutely right, and thanks for correcting me. Plus, here's the thing. Bill Gates isn't an epidemiologist. Bill Gates isn't a medical scientist. So quite honestly, I'm not sure why anybody anywhere pays any interest to what he thinks. Sorry, Mr. Gates. You may be very good at having been the co-inventor of Microsoft, but I sure as hell don't see why I, or indeed anyone else, should be, waiting with bated breath to hear your pronouncements over what we should do with regard to a respiratory illness. I can't be alone in thinking that. Although it's remarkable how influential Gates is. So, and Jed says that makes the point. We can go back to normal once the vaccine's here. Oh, wait, the vaccine will not stop you getting it. Well, Jed, I mean, you are right. I'll go back to you and say, Sonia says, yes, couldn't remember her name. Sorry, wrong people are not entitled to an opinion. Well, Sonia, no, with all respect, everyone's entitled to their opinion. They mightn't be right. They might be very wrong, but listen, we're all entitled to an opinion. Plus, Rebecca's a friend of mine, so I have, I'm very happy for her to be on the stream. Actually, Rebecca will be with me on Monday night. I shall be doing a stream on Tuesday night with my American friend, City Troll, who's on the stream at the moment. And we're going to discuss the situation in the States with Trump and Biden and what's going to happen over there. So we're going to talk about that. Then on Wednesday night, I'm going to have an interesting stream. I should have John Gaunt on with me, if any of you are fans of John Gaunt. I will have James Dellingpole on with me, if any of you are fans of James Dellingpole. And there's a few other bits and pieces being organised. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So as we run up to Christmas, I've got some really interesting guests, and I hope you'll tune in and watch me just as we do the countdown to Christmas. But, it'll be an interesting debate. Hang on a second, Sonia. Don't tell me what to do on my stream. That's a real mistake you've just made. So sorry. I'm not going to bother with intolerant people are going to be like you've just been, Sonia, put in a timeout. You're lucky I didn't block you. Next time round, I will. Don't tell me to F off on my stream. Who do you think you are? So, yeah, as I say, I try to be pleasant with people, but I'm not going to have any nonsense on my stream, right? If you want to do that, go somewhere else. I don't need that kind of nonsense on my stream. And I don't appreciate, by the way, the vindictiveness towards Rebecca Butler. So you've been told. Right, sorry about that one, folks. Bringing the mood back to that of the season. Goodwill to all, apart from Sonia, obviously. I just wanted to let you know those are the shows that are going to happen next week. So I hope you'll enjoy them. There'll be lots of debate, lots of things that you'll be able to, no doubt, agree with or disagree with or whatever. As long as you do so in an agreeable fashion, I'm good with that. Someone says to me here, Jed says, I used to call John's radio show every day. Yeah, I used to be on John's show every day. In fact, Linda says, that's where I first discovered you, David, on Talk to Me Radio. I used to like going on to John Gaunt's radio show. Well, anyway, John will be here next Wednesday at 7:00 on the Open Dialogist channel, which I also kind of co-host. So you'll be able to come on the stream and in your party gear or whatever, and enjoy the banter as we talk. As we try to put the world to. Now, there's an interesting comment. Open Dialogist channel is really hard to find. I had to search with Open Dialogist David Vance to find it. Ozzy, I will feed that back to my colleagues at the channel. I do believe there is an issue there. Jed said, David, try tagging your streams a little better. Oh, I know, I'm useless at it, Jed. I'm 100% awful at being able to tag things. I'm just hopeful that people turn up, basically. Thing is, loads of people watch this on replay. Not everyone. There's a small number of people watch it live. There's a vast number of people watch it in replay. Presumably people are, well, I was going to say they're out doing things, but in Northern Ireland from the 26th of December, the curfew comes in at 8:00 at night. So that's good news for me. Everyone's going to be sitting at home. You're not allowed to go out, or the COVID Gestapo were going to get you. I said maybe there's an upside to curfew. Champagne and Tequila says, David, I stand in solidarity with you. I totally agree with your opinions. It's nice to know there are some people who can see what I see. Well, listen, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for those kind words. Someone says, how can we turn alt news media into the British equivalent of InfoWars? John Mercer says, well, John, there's a couple of things you can do to help me as we try to find ways to to give a platform to voices and opinions like you folks, who are ignored, all but ignored by the legacy media. One way you can do that is make a contribution to the channel so that we can actually, try and grow it and get more stuff done. If you can do that, I'd really would appreciate that. Kim says, is the curfew in England? Not at the moment, Kim, but I suspect because Boris is so weak and Boris is so useless that in the next couple of days, maybe next Monday, Tuesday, he will cave and announce, well, listen, folks, have a jolly, merry little Christmas. But hey, listen, on Boxing Day, have a jolly good curfew. I bet it'll be something like that. As for Sturgeon in Scotland, I don't know if I've got any Scottish viewers on, but I mean, her intention is to, whatever the Northern Irish do or the Welsh do or whatever Boris does, she wants to be tougher. So I imagine Sturgeon is out to lock down the entire Scottish society for Christmas. But I await her pronouncements with thing. Actually, Jed makes a point. David, if you tag better, that will help with Alt News Media plus your streams. Jed, maybe you can drop me a message to tell me how do I tag better, because I don't really know how to tag. All I really know how to do is to sit and talk, more or less, and hit a few buttons and do a few things like that. Chris says Boris is already talking about lockdown 3. Absolutely, Chris. It's absolutely coming. It doesn't matter what else is said. Lockdown 3 is coming. We've got it in Northern Ireland from the 26th of the month, with a running into the beginning of February. Because you see, it's all about getting the all-important R rate down. Can I ask a question of the stream? Is there anybody in this stream who thinks that this R rate is so crucial and so vital and so statistically valid? Hands up if you really believe in the R rate. Tell me Y for yes or N for no. Just hit the comments as I'm talking here, because I am sick to the back teeth of hearing about the R rate. Oh, it's gone to 1.2. It's shaded back to 1.1. Oh, it's gone back up to 1.6. Oh, all this stuff. The R rate. Now I know that the R rate, it's a modeling mechanism in science, but our lives are being absolutely torn apart by scientists quoting an R rate. Where do they get the R rate from? Actually, here's one for you as well, by the way. Oh yeah, well, I'm not alone then. Thank you very much. Thanks, Stacey. All of you folks for I can see your NNNNN. No. This R rate it's been it's like a pile driver that's used to crush us and to treat us like children. I believe the First Minister of Northern Ireland, Arlene Foster, has come out today and said, society has failed because the R rate's gone back up again. What crap is that? Society has failed because the R rate has gone back up again. Is she so unaware of the fact that respiratory illnesses rise in the winter and fall in the spring and summer? So respiratory illnesses naturally increase, but the level of increase of respiratory illnesses is nothing compared to what it was back in March, April. There is no second wave of COVID. There's a seasonal increase, which you always get at these times of the year. But honestly, some of the comments from the politicians, it staggers me. But hey, that's kind of what it's like, I think the R rate is a modeling mechanism. I don't dispute that there is the R rate. My issue is the derivation of the R rate and the empirical basis on which these claims it's gone up, it's gone down. I'd like to know all that information. So actually, Paul says, I believe there's different ways to work out the R rate, so open to manipulation. So much of, hang on. The Pete says, OAPs and those with underlying health conditions isolate. Let everyone else get on with their lives. This is what I've been saying, Pete. What I think is we need to take care of our most vulnerable citizens, most of whom are elderly, but there are other people, immunocompromised people, younger people with conditions, and we've got to take care of those. So let's do that by all means. but let everyone else, the other 80, 90% of society, let them get on with their lives. Stop closing down business. Stop destroying livelihoods. Stop demolishing our economy. So, these are the things that need to be dealt with. But it seems that the government is going to continue to do this. Did you see that the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, has extended the furlough scheme to the end of April? Does anybody doubt that he's going to be extending it beyond the end of April into May, June, July, August? We're going to have this going, folks. This is like an infinity loop where government is demolishing business and paying at the same time firms a percentage of what is required just to keep those people on the payroll rather than have them become a statistic in the unemployment figures. Chris says, did you see ITV? No, Chris, I wouldn't watch ITV. I would sooner be, strung up by my thumbs and watch ITV News. ITV News, BBC News, it's pure, as you say, Lord Haw-Haw-esque propaganda. It really is. Ozzy says, put the politicians in lockdown. Yes, Ozzy, this is the title of a little 2-minute video I put out earlier on today. I hope actually you probably should follow me over on the Rumble channel, which is like a free speech version of YouTube. Worth following there. I do daily videos over in Rumble, by the way, little videos. And then Linda says, I feel my home has become my coffin, and I am surely not the only one. Linda, chin up. Look upon your home as your castle where unfortunately you've had to retreat because of the way the government has carried on. But try and feel as positive about it as possible. Louise says, meanwhile, China's back at work. Did I miss the mass vaccination of the Chinese? Oh, a very good point, Louise, of course. And actually, Rebecca Butler and I did talk about China on Monday of this week. So, yeah, very good question. George talks about the fact, he says, my mate died in a motorbike accident 27 days after testing positive for COVID-19. So it was recorded as a COVID death. These stories are legion, George. First of all, I'm very sorry about the loss of your friend. But the way this is being set up, if you die of any cause at all, and have had a positive PCR test for COVID in the previous 28 days, then you are put down as a COVID death. Chris makes a great point. Give me a punch. Yes, Chris, I'm open to give me a poo over on Rumble, where I as I say, I'm very keen to try and build a decent a number of followers and stuff, because I can speak freely over there, just like I can speak freely on Parler. I can say what I want. It's no different to what I normally used to say back in my Twitter days, but I can say it without fear of being taken down. And similarly on Rumble, I can say, again, reasonable things, but if I said them, for example, on YouTube, I would be no doubt given a strike and taken down from the platform. Unfortunately, big tech is a tyranny, be it the Twitter tyrants, or be it the Facebook tyrants, or be it the YouTube tyrants. Did I just say that? Oh, well, I guess I did. And yeah, I don't want to talk anymore about Pete. That. Hi, Tigers Bay, by the way. Nice to see you on the stream. It's been actually it's a really good year, actually, folks. So many of you really loyal people who come along and join in the streams. And it gives me so much pleasure to see you here. And that's where obviously back in the days when I was able to do Periscope, there were lots of other people came across, and I don't see so much of them now. People need to get off the Twitter hook, by the way. I know Twitter gives people a dopamine rush because it's such an exciting place. It's a toxic place. I'm quite happy not to be on it fundamentally. And Paddy's right here. God bless free speech. Free speech is so fundamental And that's why I am happy to be in Parler. And thanks, Louise, for following me there. I'm happy to be doing my videos in Rumble. Happy to do this as well for as long as I'm allowed to do this. Yeah, we do need, what is it Jed says? If you die within 28 days of testing positive, you're said to have died from COVID. But one of the things, Jed, let me share this thought with you. Tell me what you think of this. If you die, yes, as Jed's just said, within 28 days of a positive PCR test, you're put down as a COVID death, right? But what if the positive PCR test is a false positive? What then? Because in all of this, the thing that no one wants to talk about is these PCR false positives. And the number of them statistically is quite significant. So we don't know how many people are dying with having had a false positive test. And we're never going to find out because the authorities are not interested in sharing that information with us. But in the interest of scientific scrutiny, surely we should have that information. I would have thought that that was kind of essential. It's good science. Surely it's good science to be clear on why somebody died and what they had and what they didn't have. And by the way, here's another thought for you. How many people right now in hospitals across the UK, in COVID wards, who are being treated as if they are COVID patients because they may have had a false positive COVID test, could in actual fact have a different respiratory illness, and yet they're not being treated for the actual respiratory illness that they have. Why is the lateral flow test, by the way, why is that so staggeringly unpopular with the medical authorities? Okay, Sonia's back. You're welcome back, Sonia. As I say, let's keep it friendly. It's Christmas. Let's not fall out with each other at this time of year. We can fall out in January when we'll all be driven mad because we'll all be locked down then. Everyone in this stream, possibly apart from my American friend, will be in lockdown in January. I've got no doubt about it. And Jed makes the point, by the way, there's little flu, if any flu, about this year. That's right. You got to wonder about the science behind that, Jed. How did the flu suddenly mysteriously disappear, but COVID suddenly dominate everything? Troll says the point, science died, climate change killed all real science. Well, climate is a totally different issue, by the way, climate change, but it's the same kind of issue, really, isn't it? Facts don't matter. You just got to go with the narrative. The narrative is Greta Thunberg's narrative. We're burning the planet. The planet is on fire. All rubbish. And similarly with COVID, there's lots of issues that we need to seriously look at. So look, folks, I think that's about it for me. I didn't want to make this one a full hour. I'm going to go off to have a well-deserved glass of wine. Yes, a well-deserved glass of wine to finish what has been a very busy week at this end of things. I am trying to do so much stuff, and sometimes it's very stressful. I'm trying to get output on alt news media for you. I'm trying to do the streams. I'm trying to do the open dialogue stuff. I try to do the videos. And I love to, no one's forcing me to do it. Don't get me wrong. I do it all out of passion and principled belief. I mean, I've always said to you folks, I can be wrong about things. I know I get things wrong. I'm not perfect. But as I put up in a previous stream with Rebecca, hashtag my aim is true, which City Troll will understand that. And indeed, Chris Davis will get that line as well. I do try. My wife says I'm very trying, by the way. But I looking forward to having you folks supporting us. And if you can help us on over on Alt News Media, if you can help us to try and make ourselves even bigger and better, provide you with better shows, better, more diverse guests. All of those things can happen if you can help us. So, as I say, I'll leave you with this week with the simple thought: perhaps you'd be kind enough to go along and make a small donation in the altnewsmedia.net/donate tip box, because that enables me to get things and help things. Anyway, look, that's it. Thank you all for all your kind words. I love seeing you folks. You are brilliant. You make this channel. I'm so proud of you. And you're what motivate me to keep coming back and back and back. And it's because of you. I won't submit. I won't comply. I won't roll over. And I know you won't either. So listen, all of you folks, have a lovely weekend. And as Chris says, as I walk through this wicked world, what's so funny about peace, love, and understanding, Chris? Isn't that right? Anyway, that's it for me. Au revoir. I shall return. Bye for now.